kind of an addendum here is I wanted to show you on this demo where I've applied some fills and strokes to various objects to create this kind of microscopic creature thing. We can resize our drawings. Let's give that a try. I mean, first of all, what we'd want to do is we'd want to click and drag over the entire thing to select all these objects. I just want to make sure that you understand if you click on one thing and you drag it away, your object's going to start kind of coming apart. So there's a few things that you could do. First of all is you could click and drag over this entire thing, and you could right click and choose group. And then that means any part of this object that you click on, it's going to select the whole thing, and everything's going to move together. And that's probably a good idea, I would think, that you want to group objects together that you want to stay together in case you move them. You could also group, you don't have to group, you can make basically like subgroups. So like this thing is an individual object, but if I click all of these little antennas, maybe I just want to make a group for these antennas so that these will move together. If I select one of these, it selects the entire group and they all move together. I could, then these individual like little bubble things should probably be all grouped together. So let's go ahead and do that. If I make a selection over some of them and I hold the shift key down, I can add to my selection. So I can be kind of precise in selecting a bunch of these without selecting the other stuff around it. So now that I have all of these selected, I can right click and choose group. Now if I click one of them, they all move together. Maybe these parts of this creature's body, actually there's these three individual little shapes in here. Maybe I should group those together so those don't accidentally move. Like now if I select one, they all move together. Maybe I want to group all the elements of this body. I'm calling it the body of this creature together. We'll right click and choose group. So now I have like little various groups, that I can maybe if I want to manipulate different parts or move different parts of this separate from other parts, I've got these little groups. If I want to ungroup, I can do that just by right clicking and then choosing ungroup. So it's easy if I want to make some kind of a change to it. But in general, if you're basically done with a drawing and you think you might want to move or resize it, it's a good idea to group things together that you want to stay together. So let's say we want to move this entire thing together. Like if I click one part, it's like, oh, well, that part moves, but the other stuff stays put. Let's click and drag over the entire object, and then let's choose group. So now we've got like some groups within groups, but that's okay. We can always ungroup this if we wanted to edit it. We just say undo group. But now we can just click on any part of this object and we can move it around. So if we wanted to position this someplace else, like over in the corner here, or we want to place it on another artboard or whatever, we can without the danger of getting it all messed up and keeping it all, we'll keep it all intact by grouping it and moving it all together. Now, another thing we could do is we could resize our object here, or a group of objects. And if we do that, we want to select it, and then we want to click with our move tool, this black arrow up here, and we want to just drag. But the problem is, if we drag this, click and drag, we get some issues where we're distorting the original objects. So that's something we want to avoid in general. I mean, there might be some reason why you don't want to just squash or stretch your object by doing that, but in general, you want to make sure you preserve the proportions of the things that you're working on. So in order to make sure that it stays proportional as we resize it, we want to hold the shift key down, and then click and drag, and you can see that even if I move my mouse around, this is not, it's staying proportional. So that's really important. Hold shift, click and drag, and resize it that way. If I let go of the shift key, then I can, end up with something like that. So that's really important. If you haven't done that before or you're not sure, just practice shift, click and drag. You want to hold the shift key first before you um, click and drag. Okay, then another issue that we might run into. Um, Now I have a setting in my on my computer, the copy of Illustrator that I've got on my computer. I have a setting that allows everything to resize when I'm dragging this to resize it, like make it bigger or smaller. Everything stays proportional, and this is really important. If you go to the settings menu in Illustrator and choose General, you want to make sure you have scale corners and scale strokes in effect with the check mark on. That's what I have right now, but let's see what happens if I deselect or uncheck those. And then when I go to resize this, we might get a different result. Okay, look what's happening here. So when I make this smaller, all the strokes get proportionally thicker. And it's not actually that the strokes are getting thicker or heavier, it's the fact that the strokes are the same weight as they were originally. So a 4-point stroke stays at 4 points, but as our entire object gets smaller, that starts to get larger in proportional to our object, and then it looks really strange. So let me make a duplicate of this so I can show you what I mean and we can compare. Command C and Command C and Command V. I'm making this copy, and let's go ahead and resize this thing. And now you can maybe get a better sense of what I mean. This stroke that's around this kind of undulating shape, it fills in the whole shape, where here it's the proportion that we want. So you can see how thick these antennas look. I mean, it's not that the antennas are thicker or heavier, it's just that in proportion to the object they are, because the object got a lot smaller. And the same thing will happen if we were to enlarge this, but it'll go the opposite direction, where proportionally to the size of the object, the strokes will seem like they're thinner. So I think that the effect is more obvious on something that's reduced a lot, but you can see what I mean. So to avoid that, you want to keep everything proportional just the way that you picked it. If you pick something that's 4 points and it looks right here, then that's what you want to maintain. Definitely make sure you go to settings before you do anything. Go to general, and then make sure scale corners, scale strokes, and effects is turned on.